Hey, good morning to you. It's April 1st. It's my youngest son's birthday, Benjamin. He's 30 years old today, so blow up his phone, blow up his Facebook page, and wish him a happy birthday because I don't think there's a whole lot going on, especially in the times that we live in right now, so be encouraging. One of these days, when I make it big, I want to get me a cinematographer. This holding your phone up and trying to talk is a lot of work, I'll tell you what. Oh, it's all good. There's a lot of stories in the Bible that are just powerful, and they have such a powerful effect. And this is one of my favorites because it just shows the compassions of God. That how much He loves every and each and every one of us, and just that love that He has for us. And it's out of Acts chapter 8, verses 26. But that Philip is involved in these meetings, and people are just coming to the Lord, and there's all these people are having this come to Jesus moment, and they're just flocking in, and it's just overwhelming. Actually, he has to call Peter and John to come help him because of what the Lord is doing. And but there's one. God has one person in mind right now, and in this a eunuch that's on his way to Jerusalem to worship God in the temple, and but there's one small problem. He can't get in. He can't get in. Man, what is it? Ethiopia is like 1,500 miles from Jerusalem, and he can't get in. Because in Deuteronomy 23:1 it says, no one that's emasculated by crushing or cutting may enter in the assembly of the Lord. And that seems like, wow, that's kind of a harsh rule, isn't it? But when you really think about it, and why that law was so important is God just had delivered them people, the Israelites, out of captivity, out of slavery. And God says, and when they castrated men, they were slaves. And God says, my people ain't slaves. You get that mindset right out of your head. You're not slaves. I made you kings and priests. Don't be acting like slaves. And anyway, so this eunuch is on his way home, and I so identify because there's moments where, man, you're just lonely. You feel rejected. I'm just not good enough. And you look in the mirror, don't like what you see. Come on, look at me. And just feel like forgotten or abandoned, or how am I gonna, people say, man, how am I gonna make it another day, and but God sees us, and he saw him out there, and he says, Philip, I know, you got all this going on, paraphrasing of course, but you got all this going on, but there's one, and I want you to go minister to him. And Philip leaves and goes for that. And it's like that story of the 99, and he goes for the one. What a God. And so Philip goes out there, and just so happens, you talked about divine appointment. So he's out there, and the guy's reading Isaiah 53 about like a lamb he'll be led to slaughter, and the depiction and the prophecy of Christ. And Philip says, do you understand what you're reading? He says, well, how can I? And there's a lot of people out there looking just for somebody to come alongside him and say, any guidance? And Philip shares the gospel with them, and right there on the spot, the man's life is transformed. And so much so that he says, what prevents me from being baptized? And they find a pool of water, and they go out and be baptized. And right after that, Philip's just carried away, and the Spirit just gone. It's just gone. It's just when he looked up, and Philip was gone. And I thought, man, this is God wants to work with each of us that way, and his love, and we're drawn by that great love of his, not by fear, not by manipulation, but by the compassion and the mercy of God. We're drawn to that because we have that hole in our heart, and he wants to fill, only he can fill it. And I often think, my sister, we grew up in church and always went to church together when we were growing up, and we'd go to these meetings, and she'd be sitting beside me, and she'd grab my arm and the preacher would get done preaching, and she said, Dave, we need to go to the altar. And I thought, okay. And she says, but I need you to go with me. Okay. And, as a brother, gotta watch out for your sister, right? So we went down to the altar, and all of a sudden her hand would go up, and she'd say, I'd hear this voice, can you come pray for my brother? I'll tell you, I was terrified. I thought, oh man, I was set up. You know, you talk about a deer in the headlight look. And all of a sudden, all these hands would be on me, you know, and they'd just be praying the devil out of me. I mean, just you just feel like, oh, and I always thought, you know, what a blessing that was. I'm thankful for it, you know, because sometimes we need other people to stand in the gap, and she did. She did that for me, and I'll never forget it. So I just want to encourage you. I want to encourage you today. Just just no matter what you're feeling, no matter if you feel God's right there, man. He sticks closer than a brother, and just a whisper of His name, you know. And sometimes we think we have to have this long, drawn out prayer, and sometimes it's just, there was a time in my life where the only prayer I had was, "Help me, God," and He did. So God bless you. You have a great day, and we'll do this some other time.